Friends, I am Devashish and today I will speak in English. I am not very interested to speak in English. I am very proud to speak in Bengali. But in some occasions we have to speak in English. So in India there is also a Brahmanavat. Brahmanism prevails, that people who speaks in English, they get favored. People who didn't speak in English, they get no favor. That is the, what I say, cultural heritage of Maclevian society that we inherit. The main problem of India is today that what we are doing, we are not, we are not developing our democracy. Let's take a quick example. Okay, after the lockdown, the two things are very common. One is the rapid growth of coronavirus, and second is that the petrol, the diesel price is increasing. In a democracy where 70% of people lives in a very catastrophic condition, they lives in a very abject poverty, and 70% vehicles run by the diesel, then the price is increasing. And another thing is very important here, that in international market the price of crude oil is now decreasing. When in international market everything is decreasing, in India the prices are increasing in the time of coronavirus. So this is a very great example of democracy. What we are doing, we are doing only lockdown, but in the case in this arena of lockdown, we have to be very cautious about people, but we didn't take the right measurement to we didn't take the right measurement to help our people. So we are increasing the price of diesel. And second thing is very common here, that is a looming large threat. That is, this threat is now looming large. In India, only 24% of people use internet. After the lockdown, all schools and colleges are closed. Then you will say that you do the virtual education, you do internet education and other things, but India 24% have only access to this internet. So a large number of people, a large number of students, what they do? And this large number of students are from backward classes. This large number of students from from economical backward classes. They are from socially backward classes. So they didn't get the chance to emancipation. Now they didn't get any chance to emancipate themselves in the education system. They will be now vanished from the education system because school and colleges will locked for a long days. So that is a major problem, that the new technologies which are very much inherited by the capital, they are not serving the poor. That is a very crude condition, because poor didn't have the access of internet, they didn't have the access of minimum electricity, and they didn't have the access of also laptop and others. So so how they should take the education? It is a very big problem for us. And second thing, in India we are facing, not in India, in the entire South Asia, there is a death looming large. The UNICEF is telling a concept that more than 3 lakh child will be died due to the, not only due to the circumstances of coronavirus. No, they didn't die to coronavirus. They didn't die with coronavirus. But the circumstances prevailed after corona, they cannot bear that circumstances. First, now now every children are facing a PTSD problem, that is post-traumatic disorder, because in school they have their they have their own world. They have friends and other things, but when the lockdown prevails, they didn't getting the schools, they didn't going to the schools. So they are very much they are very much in their homes and with parents. In every cases parents are very brutal, as because when a family facing the abject poverty, then everything jeopardized. So parents gets very, what I say, crude to his children. In our Bengali literature, we find a beautiful story about whatever it is written by Manik Banerjee, that is Arna Kanna. I'm doing this episode in English, but when I will when I think that my English will be लुढ़क जाएंगे मेरा English जब, when I didn't speak fluently in English, then I automatically convert to Bengali. So and I have no shame about that, because to speak in your mother tongue is the best thing, is the best policy. So come to the Manik Banerjee. When a family facing the abject poverty, then the equations of child and parents have very much changed. In that story, Manik Banerjee told us Arna Kanna, when a child demanding one extra piece of roti, the child gets slaps from her mother. Why? Because they have no extra piece of roti, they have no extra piece of food. So this crisis is now looming large in every family of South Asia, because the children are in home, they are not going to the schools, their fathers are not getting the salaries or wages. So there is a huge epidemic of, what I say, crisis, and that crisis is more than coronavirus. And other things is that in 18th century we fight against the evils. We fight against the evils of child marriages. Now every family is facing this type of, every poor family is facing this type of abject poverty due to coronavirus. They are now very muchly interested in their to marriage their siblings, to marriage their daughters. They are very much interested in now to get marriage of their daughters. So the crisis of child marriage is now looming large in South Asia. So that is in nutshell a picture. And in this picture we find a broader picture of two democracies. That is India and US. In US you also find not this type of problems, but a huge problem. India is one of the largest democracy and US is one of the strongest democracy, but these two countries are failing in every occasions. America is now didn't able to control the corona situation. In America, if we go through the death tolls of corona, we can find that the colors people, the black people are facing more trouble of the corona. Not only that, they are the new wave of Black Lives Matters demanding some questions how a democracy will run. A democracy is for rich peoples, a democracy is for corporates, or a democracy for everyone, a democracy for each life. So each life matters is the main thing. But in America, we are finding that each life matters are now didn't matters to policymakers. The policymakers making a policy that will shine the country, they are saying make America great again, but the people, but the sufferings, but the hungers. Once upon a time, the Martin Luther King said that I have a dream, that dream of a of a beautiful world with clear sky and clear democracy, a beautiful world of everything, a beautiful world for people who are thinking, a beautiful world for food, and a beautiful world for everyone. But these dreams are now abandoned by the far rightist government. So in India, we also facing the same far rightist trend. The great dreams of make India great again is now becoming a far rightist tendencies like America. I mean, in India, the problem is almost very much, very much in a cynic condition. The prices of petrol increasing, the prices of everything increasing, and people didn't get any chance to say about their lives. That is also a very tragic problem. And then you ask why they didn't get the chance to saying about his life, because today's media, because today's environment, because today's what I call say this type of medias of virtual medias,
In maximum cases, people didn't have internet and they didn't know they didn't know how to access the internet and other things, so they are not getting the ample scope to represent their voices. But in America, there is a good sign. We are now getting a new wave of Black Lives Matters, and Black Lives Matters is telling that we have to make a beautiful democracy for everyone. So this is the moot question of today. We have to make a beautiful democracy, and without story, we didn't get a beautiful democracy. In my every episode, I deliver about stories, because story is the fundamental element of democracy.
In every story, like the slave Aesop, the story of Aesop, where he give us the beautiful glorification of that of that win, where we find a beautiful win of a slave in another matters, where we find in another matters that tortoise always didn't win. We find another story, the black man's dreams prevail in everywhere, that told by what I say, Aesop, the great slave Aesop. And stories are the fundamental democracy, how the story emancipate our democracy. We come to a story of our great writer, but today we forgot about him. He is your not another, he is Jyotirindranath Moitra. Jyotirindranath Moitra, Jyotirindra Moitra is not Jyotirindranath, he is Jyotirindra Moitra. Jyotirindra Moitra is one of my favorite authors. And in his stories, we find a beautiful tone of democracy. So I am going to a story that is Bonet Raja. In that story, we find a boy who comes from a city to the hinterlands of West Bengal, and here he has encountered with his grandfather. And he is astonishing to see him, to see that his grandfather is like another type of man. He creating a new civilization. When he asked about that, Grandpa, you didn't take the medicine, so then his grandpa told that this fresh air and these oxygens are the medicine. When he told about that, Grandpa, you have many things, many trees of fruits and others. Sometimes I see the boys are taking all the things. So then the grandpa is saying that the nature gives us ample things. So what you want, you take it. What you want, you take it, but didn't harm anyone. And after that, he described that in your city, the trees are not trees, as because they are very alienated. In cities, we didn't find any space, we didn't find any forest or any forest-like space. So in city, a tree is alienated, a people is alienated, a culture is alienated. So don't be a alienated person, says that grandpa. Then the boy understand that his grandpa is another type of man who wants a beautiful civilization for everyone. He wants a beautifulness of life for everyone. So this is the vast question of today. We have to celebrate a beautiful life. We have to celebrate a beautiful life with stories. We have to celebrate a beautiful life with new policies. And we have to very attentive from now to change the policy matters. So we have to be united now. That is the right thing for us now. That is the right time for us now. Unity is the last word for democracy. For a beautiful earth, we need to unite it. We need to be very cooperative, and we need to be very offensive about the evilness of life. So here I stop. I hope you will enjoy my episode, and I have a request to you that please subscribe the channel and give a booster to the new wave of new democracy. Every life matters, Black life matters.